Detroit, a mega metropolis, rich with natural resources and a beauty that can only be described as breathtaking. This great city was at the very forefront of the Industrial Revolution in America and ultimately led the world in automotive technology. But now, in the year 2010, Detroit has become the poster child for the post-industrial society. Joblessness, urban decay, poverty, and crime-ridden streets now plague this historic town. Many questions linger as to the root cause of this dramatic decline of this once manufacturing powerhouse. It is my belief that the implementation of globalization bears an extensive blame for the wholesale destruction of the Motor City. With globalization being hailed as the future of economic prosperity and opportunity, it is imperative that a dissenting voice from the wilderness speak out in opposition of Detroit becoming globalized. My name is Tyrone Diggins, and I'm a political activist and documentary filmmaker. The name of this documentary is Detroit Globalized. And in it, I'm going to talk about the adverse effects that globalization has had on the city of Detroit. Now, this segment that I want to go over is Detroit shrinking. Now, I want to touch over a few points because our mayor, Dave Dean, has been going on TV and telling us that in order for Detroit to become a better city, it has to shrink. And that in this task of shrinking the city, that some people in neighborhoods that's deemed dilapidated and crime-ridden, that some people that own their property or houses, they're gonna have to move out. Now he's saying he's doing an Orwellian double speak. He's not saying he's gonna actually force people out, but he's saying he's gonna give people incentives to move out. But the incentives are, you're not gonna have services in your area. The first point I wanna make is, around last year, Detroit Land Bank treasurer, Deborah Younger, she did an interview with Time Magazine called Lay of the Land. In that interview, she was asked, question, have you identified neighborhoods whose size needs to be reduced? If so, what are they? Answer, chuckles, I won't go on the record on that one. Question, but wait, you said we need leadership that's willing to make those hard choices. Answer, the reason I say that is because Detroit Mayor Dave Dean has his staff working on land management issues. I don't want to get out ahead of him, but I'll be ready soon. She's basically saying that they have a plan ready, but they're not going to tell the public because they don't want a resistance or build a resistance against what they have planned. The general public, if they knew that everything was already predetermined, they'd have more resistance against this plan, this master plan, if you read the documents, that they're getting ready to implement on this city. Now, the second point I want to make is Robert Bobb, he's been brought in to financially manage the Detroit school system. And the Detroit school system is separate from the mayor's office. Now, he was interviewed in a news article earlier this year, and when he announced that he was going to demolish X amount of number of schools. Now, in that article, it was said, Bob has been meeting with Detroit Mayor Dave Dean's administration, which is working on plans to shrink parts of the city by moving people from deteriorating and empty areas to more stable neighborhoods. Robert Bobb, quote, we have met with the city's team to review block by block their demographic trends, and we have overlaid this plan with the work of the city, said Bob. It's obvious that the areas that they're going to demolish are the same areas where they're already demolishing schools. See, this plan has been being implemented piecemeal for the people. The plan to shut down certain bus stops or end certain routes completely. And now you have a plan to shut down schools, X amount of schools. And now he's saying, well, certain neighborhoods that maybe need to be destroyed because we have a low population density in these neighborhoods. So the neighborhoods have already been selected. They're just not telling the general public yet. Now, last year, DET hired the Stockton Aerial Infrared Thermographic Company to do an aerial survey to figure out how many people were still in energy. And they did an aerial over 84,000 acres in the metro area. Now, DTE estimated that it was around 5% of the homes in this surveyed area. They were going to find around 5% of the homes still in energy. When they did the survey, it was 20% of the homes in the surveyed area that were still in energy. And 80% of those homes that were still in gas were also still in electricity. So, DTE estimates they're losing around $160 million from this energy theft that's going on. So, if you think about that, they have a stake in the city knocking down these neighborhoods because they already said that the people that's still in these, the bulk of them are coming from these areas where it's a lot of abandoned houses and a lot of burnt out buildings. So they have a financial stake, a large financial stake in seeing these neighborhoods come down. And for somebody that struggled and had to go through hardships and maybe had to lose a loved one and take that money, insurance money, and pay the bank back, and it takes somebody 40, 30 years for somebody to say, well, hey, yeah, you finally paid this house off and you own it, but now you gotta go. That's not fair. And that's something that we have to organize and stand up against. Dave Bing has said, hey, I'm not a politician, I didn't come in a politician, I'm not gonna leave out a politician. It's a high probability, I believe, that Dave Bing, when leaving office, can go right back to his board position at DET. And what better way to go back as their hero, their champion that saved them from this large amount of debt or waste that the company has been accumulating from these areas, because he has to come out and pacify the public, in my opinion. Make them think they have a stake and choice in the decisions that are going on in their city, when in all actuality, they're already ready to implement the plan and already implementing it as I sit here and speak. Now, what is globalization? Globalization, to give you the abridged version, is a social economic theory that states in order to bring the third world out of poverty, the millions of people that live in extreme poverty around the world, we have to take industry from first world nations and give to the third world in order to raise them up out of poverty. Now, the industry that the first world countries lose are supposed to be replaced with service jobs. Now, a service job is you working at Walmart, you're working at McDonald's, you're working at car wash. These are the service jobs that's supposedly supposed to replace manufacturing jobs. The third world countries never rise up to the point where we have this utopia where it states that everybody's going to have a chicken in every pot in the kitchen, because the international corporations are the only ones that capitalize off of these globalist free trade agreements that our government signed on to back in the mid-90s. In the future, as stated by UN advisor Jack Satali in his book, Millennium Winners and Losers in the Coming of New Order, he stated that there's no future for the unskilled laborer, and that robots will become the new proletarians. Proletariat means labor manual worker, basically. What does this mean? That means with technology, advances in technology, and through outsourcing, we're even going to lose the service jobs that were supposed to replace the manufacturing jobs that left through globalization. Even in McDonald's, when you go up to the drive-through and the speaker, they have pre-recorded messages now.
Hi, we're featuring our new McRib value meal. Please place your order when ready.
A lot of these, not all, a lot of these McDonald's that have these pre-recorded messages, that's giving a call center that they're hiring people in a call center to take orders in different states. So with that said, we have to get out of the IMF, we have to get out of the World Trade Organization, and we definitely have to get out of the UN. Because if we don't, America and Detroit has the future of a third world country, and we can't allow that to happen. If we stand up and take action, become informed on the issues at hand, it's a chance that we can save Detroit from becoming globalized. The advocates for globalization tell us that sovereignty and individuality are a threat to peace and the social order. We've all been taught through the culture that money is the only thing in life worth loving, and that things like faith, family, and resistance to oppression are obsolete. Well, I'm here to tell you that those are some of the greatest lies ever told. Because in reality, money can't buy you anything in this life that's truly valuable. And the theory of moral relativity is a fallacy, because there is truth in the world. And those who have the willpower to seek it will always have victory over organized lies. It was once said that all that's needed for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. I believe that. And I think it's past due time that we all stand up and take action against the injustices going on in this society. Remember, the war's already won. All you gotta do is fight it. Thank you for watching Detroit Globalized.
Sky for you if you would promise me a love.